look forward to hearing more. I think Ms. Smith will be introducing you, but to the students and community. But I just wanted to introduce myself to you and just say it's always nice to connect with alumni, and I hope you're doing well. Yeah.
Appreciate it, sir. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
We're very pleased to welcome Moulay Ahmed Aladlouni back to ASM virtually from New York to be able to connect for our Career Connections meeting today with our students. Moulay Ahmed graduated from ASM in 2019, and he is now an undergraduate studying economics at Siena College in New York. And Moulay, I was wondering if you might be able to share with us a little bit about your experience and your tips for managing and being successful through the whole college application process, and also for experiencing college life, surviving college life, being successful in college life as you know it. So if you could just share a little bit with the community about your experience. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Smith. I'd just like to thank everyone at ASM for this opportunity as well. It's honestly a pleasure to be able to do so. I mean, this is just something, for starters, this is something that I'm excited to do. But yeah, anyway, so how I want to start off is just go through, like, talk about what I was able to accomplish in high school, and then just how that played a big role for me in getting to college, doing what I'm doing right now in college, and just being able to experience stuff. So like Miss Smith said, I had the privilege to graduate from the American school in 2019. As a result, I ended up coming to Siena College in upstate New York. Very, very big change weather-wise. I want to say academically, just the shifts from high school to college. But yeah, now weather being definitely one of the biggest factors. But at my time during ASM, I was able to accomplish a lot that I want to say provided the stepping stones for me to feel comfortable in this environment that I'm at here at college. From various sports, being able to participate in different tournaments, being able to meet new people, new experiences. I don't think I would have ever thought that I would be able to play different sports like every year throughout high school or whatnot. But I believe, at least for me personally, that was one of my biggest stepping stones. Because not only is there an athletic aspect to it, I feel like it's also a very it gives you more insight and being able to meet people, communicate, team skills, whatnot. And these, I believe, are important factors because all like we have tons of group activities, whatnot in high school, but that's also something that carries into college. It's an important skill to have no matter where you are. I believe that's just a great, great foundation. And in addition to that, just a great thing is just the classroom. I just remember back at the American school, I was able to communicate with teachers, get to know them better, have them explain stuff that I didn't understand. This is all typical stuff, but this reflected my decision coming into college because I came to a pretty small college compared to all the bigger ones out there with class sizes of around 25 to 30 students or even less than that. And so what that permitted me to do is to continue what I was able to do at the American school and have this one-on-one connection with the teacher to better understand, to help myself better understand the subjects, and as well as getting to know the teacher because it tends to be very helpful. But besides that, one of the biggest factors that's been mentioned over and over and over is once you present your college application, you want to be as well-rounded as possible. And it's these small things that you can pick up on that will help your application get even better and better. And one big thing, although it's not people don't do it as much in college, I want to say, is just the principle of like community service or something along those lines. Because back home, we had the privilege of helping out with different organizations. I know about the High Atlas Foundation, the Amala Training Center. Those were great foundations that let us help and in turn we got hours that permitted us to graduate. But it's something beyond that. I feel like it wasn't necessarily something that you wanted to do to meet the hours in order to graduate, but it should just be a principle that you go by, something you should enjoy doing, something that you feel a connection with, that will allow you to present it to college counselors or whatnot to take a look at and be like, this is something that this student has done persistently and constantly over a course of X amount of years. And it just makes them like someone special in this whole bunch. Because at the end of the day, you want your college application to separate you from the others, if that makes sense. So if it came down to, let's say, 2 or 3 different factors, everything matched up, you just want to have something special that you can go on about. I mean, besides that, I feel like there are like many other things that should be considered. I spoke about athletics earlier. I feel like that's just something, I mean, my life, I want to say, has somewhat revolved around athletics. But ever since coming here to college, I've had the opportunity to play club soccer, and it's just been a nice experience being able. I mean, it isn't like for NCAA or anything. However, it's nice just to experience it from a, like, just playing here at a newer school at a college club level. I mean, it's just really nice to be able to carry on what I was doing, what I was enjoying, but at the same time having the opportunity to focus on my academics here. I mean, one further thing I want to go over is just like the idea of like internships, getting more accustomed to like jobs, experiences, or whatnot. I mean, I feel like this all started for me in high school, being able to go on, being able to get to know all of these different people, different backgrounds, because that's essentially what you're doing once you come into college. One important thing is being able to build these connections, because they will have a great impact on what you're able to accomplish in the future. They'll be able to help you with the jobs you land and so on. So with the economics, my major being economics, I feel like it's a very broad major. There isn't anything specific I can go into. I mean, there are several things, but economics is not built for you, okay, this is where you're going to end up. And so I do feel like I have a whole spectrum or a whole list of stuff to choose from once I graduate. And that's why it's always good to start exploring really early, exploring your options, being able to see where or what you would be most comfortable doing. I mean, obviously, this isn't going to be the case for everyone because it does take time to make choices, and that's completely normal. I myself came into college undecided, and it was only till the end of last year that I switched majors to economics. But I mean, as it's been known to everybody, COVID has been a tricky situation, be it middle school, high school, college. Adjustments have had to be made all around. I mean, obviously, it's not the norm anymore. Everything has been changed. I mean, I want to say it's been really hard going online for online classes. However, it's just been something that everyone's powered through. Everyone's been a good sport about. And I mean, as long as we keep going that way, like, be it if you're in middle school, if you're in high school, if you're transitioning, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. I mean, as long as everyone is on the same page about it, it should be good. But that shouldn't be a factor that stops people from going out, trying to get internships or trying to land a job or whatnot, because they, like I said, they're always going to be stepping stones along the way that will help make bigger decisions in the future.
Thank you, Moulay Ahmed. Thank you for sharing those great tips with us, and items that certainly I'm taking away with me from this session. The fact that it's about being at school and building teamwork skills together, being able to connect socially with other people from a range of different areas. You mentioned the service learning and how that helps you to create connections, but also to be able to become a well-rounded, experienced individual. You also mentioned the internships and those opportunities, how they can help you to consider careers, future jobs, and also, again, to make connections with other people that may be helpful in the future. I think definitely the key items that I'm taking away are to start exploring options early and to build connections as much as you can, taking those opportunities. I was just wondering if you might be able to tell us a little bit more about what, I mean, you had about a year at college before COVID kicked in, or probably about 6 months before COVID kicked in. What was it like in an average, say, week or something, just to be able to describe for any of our students who might not have an idea of what college life can be like?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I want to say college life is just a completely different scenario than high school, just in general. One of the biggest things I want to say is just a break in routine and whatever. I mean, just considering the fact in high school, when you're growing up, I want to say pre-K through 12, you're ready to go at like 7 or 8 in the morning, and then your body is able to go all the way to 4 p.m. And then if you have extracurriculars, you go ahead and do that. But in college, it's very broken down. Classes are scattered all over the day. I mean, a typical week for me looked like, I want to say, like 3 classes on Monday, 2 classes Tuesday, and then maybe 1 class Wednesday, 1 class Thursday, and then 4 on Friday or something like that. And so it's just getting the first few weeks, and I say this for every semester because the routine switches up every semester, is it just becomes very, very different. You have to get accustomed to waking up at a certain time, being able to accomplish certain tasks prior to going to class, being able to do stuff between classes. You just have to be able to make the most out of the time you have, rather than letting it go until last minute. And that's just one issue. I want to say, like, one of the things that's being stressed the most about college is time management, because you need to be able to have great time management skills in order to accomplish everything you need to do, be it for class or extracurriculars here at college. Um, but I mean, overall, a typical week would involve that, but there's also plenty of other stuff that's going on. I mean, we have facilities to use, be it for if we want to go out and just enjoy ourselves, play sports, use the gym, go to the library. I mean, there are facilities throughout campus widely available to all students. So that's also something that people should build in to catch breaks here and there, I feel. But yeah, but besides that, like, just college, I want to say, is just the transition for me at least wasn't, I want to say, as tricky as I expected it to be. Rather, it was something that I was kind of happy about because it was a little smoother. I mean, the biggest reason being is the size of the classes, because that is, I want to say, like one of the biggest things for me. And I was never able to see how blessed I was at the American school to be able to be in class sizes that were really, really small. And that reflected here really, really well, considering the fact that I'm able to get to know my professors, much like I was able to in ASM, get to know my teachers. And that one-on-one connection there, it it's just amazing. I just don't know how to stress it. But yeah.
Thank you, Moulay Ahmed. Certainly, connection really is a theme running through everything that you've said today, this morning for you. Is there anybody else who would like to ask any questions to Moulay Ahmed? You have any questions to ask? Okay, Tommy has a question. What was the hardest part of your college application, and how did you prepare or improve your college essay?
Um, that's honestly hard. I want to say the hardest part for me for my college application was the personal statement. That took a long time. I mean, I don't say it was hard because it was hard to write. It was just hard because it took so much time and effort. Because I had to draft it, and I remember I had to do this for my English class. That was one of our assignments. But draft it, um, look over it, have the teacher look over it, have a friend look over it, have your parents look over it, and so on and so forth. Review and edit, review and edit, review and edit, and I honestly can't tell you how many times I had to redo that process because you it's not perfect the first couple of times. You need to put in thought and effort into it to get something that will make you stand out as a person. And I mean, I know the question did involve like how did you go about your college essay, but it was just something finding a topic that you feel you have a connection with or that will reflect your character that isn't visible in plain words or isn't visible from a picture or whatnot. Um, and so yeah, college, call it the personal statement for sure. That that was definitely the toughest.
Thank you, Moulay Ahmed. Yes, we're certainly working on those with some of our students currently as well. So yes, thank you. Our grade 11 students are in the midst of drafting theirs already. Okay. Any other questions that I can open up to Moulay Ahmed? Anybody want to ask any questions?
I'll step in here. Thank you, Moulay, for all the wonderful suggestions and recommendations for our students, in particular the seniors and juniors who are the closest to the college application process. And I know it's a stressful time in their lives, and I'm just wondering, dialing back a year from where you are now, what are some words of encouragement, words of advice, if you can think back to being here at ASM and in their shoes, that you might have for them, when things get tough, or challenging, and maybe could have made your life a little bit better now in New York, if you knew then what you know now.
I mean, I appreciate it. I appreciate Dr. Asado. Um, I mean, one thing I want to say is like take your time. I mean, that's just one thing that I see that way. Like nothing has to be rushed. There's plenty of time ahead of you, be it to do something, to make a change, whatever it is. There's always plenty of time. And I mean that's just one thing that I want to say I failed to realize in high school because everything I just want everything done immediately. But with that transition came it's like although I'm indecisive or I don't know what I want to do, thinking that way just like enables me to push it further. I'm like, okay, like sit down, take a step, like you still have time ahead of you, and then you're able to lay out like a plan moving forward, if that makes sense. So I mean, like if there's ever stress or whatever, be it in high school or college, just like sit down, you and just reflect upon it because you have so much more going forward if you just think about it for a minute, give it some time. It's not going to be as hard as like it's put out to be or as hard as you think it is. And I just believe like had I known that in college, not in high school, pardon, I don't think necessarily it would have made me a better person per se, but it would have made me do things differently. I would have given myself a different approach to many things. And so that's just one thing that I want to say I picked up on in college that I've just like taken it to heart because I truly reflect that way now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for connecting with us, Moulay Ahmed. I think we're now just over our time for this session, but I really do want to thank you for those wonderful words of advice, and also for joining us for this session, providing that insight into college life. And I do hope that you're able to continue at Siena College and perhaps get back to a few more normal times as well. So yes, thank you very much. Thank you once again.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Moulay, and best wishes in your studies.
Much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.